Hey everybody, Makley here. In this video, I'll be going over how to get the modded Sandking XL pickup truck. Getting these to spawn is very easy, and it's a good way to supplement your income from the money chain or whatever you like to do for grinding. As I'm sure most of you know, you can sell a car at the mod shop every 24 hours in game time, which is 48 minutes in real life. While you could just grab any basic car off the street and sell it, I prefer to keep some of the more expensive ones around for max profit when I do this. The modded Sandkings are the second most valuable out of the cars that you can just grab and sell. The most valuable ones are the gold and chrome Dubstas, which sell for about $6,000 or $7,000 more than the Sandkings. The reason I don't bother with the Dubstas is that there's no way I know of to spawn them as quickly and reliably as the Sandkings. Even under perfect conditions, it can sometimes take 15 to 20 minutes just to get a single Dubsta to spawn. In that same time frame, I can get 6 of the Sandkings plus finish a mission with a $20,000 payout. So do the math. 20 minutes for a $24,000 Dubsta, or 20 minutes for 6 Sandkings worth $18,000 each plus a $20,000 mission payout. That's a total value of around $128,000. I think the Sandkings are a much better value for the time spent. So, there are two kinds of these trucks, a yellow one and a blue one. By the way, those are the colors of the two main Rockstar Games logos. I'm sure that's not an accident. The yellow truck is slightly cheaper, selling for around $17,500, and the blue truck is a bit more, selling for around $18,500. So on average, I tend to think of these as being worth $18,000 each. Since there's only a $1,000 difference, I always just grab whichever one that spawns. The reason I bring that up is because some people might decide to skip the yellow one when it spawns and try again for the blue one, which means you would have to turn around, head back up the road and back again, and there's still a 50% chance that another yellow one will just spawn anyways. If that's how you want to do it, that's fine. But from an earnings per hour perspective, I don't think it's worth it. I just grab whatever spawns and throw it in my garage. So how do we get these things? It's easy, but there are a few prerequisites. The first prerequisite, you have to own a Sandking XL to begin with. It doesn't have to be one of the modded ones, even just a plain one off the street will work just fine. In free roam, you can usually find these trucks driving around up by Sandy Shores or even further up on the north side of Mount Chiliad near the lumberyards in Paleto Bay. So either hunt for one and grab it off the street and put it in your garage. You might want to at least insure it. Or you can buy it from Southern San Andreas Super Autos for $45,000. Either way works fine, but you do need to have at least some kind of Sandking XL in order to make this work easily. One note of caution. There is a very similar looking truck called the Sandking SWB. If you're grabbing one of these off the street in free roam, make sure it's an XL and not the SWB. The Sandking SWB will not work for getting the modded Sandking XLs to spawn, so be careful about that. So that's the first prerequisite. You have to have one of these to begin with, even if it's just a plain one with no mods at all. The second prerequisite, having the mission Time to Get Away available to you from your mission launch list. Since you can find these modded trucks in free roam too, this isn't technically a necessity, but it makes it so much easier that I'm going to call it a prerequisite, and you certainly need to have that mission in order to do this the way that I do it. Why that mission? Well, the time frame for these trucks to spawn is somewhere between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. in game time. What is special about the mission Time to Get Away is that the in-game time clock is frozen at 12 o'clock noon, which is the perfect time for these to spawn. Otherwise, you could do it in free mode, but you probably wouldn't have enough time to get 6 of them and store them all in your garage before the time frame for them to spawn ends. There are a couple of other missions where the clock is also frozen at noon. However, those missions have timers for certain activities. Time to Get Away, you can take as much time as you like to complete it. Also, Time to Get Away has no cops or wanted levels. You never get any stars, which makes it a lot easier to do this when you're stealing these and shooting people and whatnot. The time to get away contact mission is given by Martin Madrazo. It becomes available at level 20. So if you are at least level 20, and if it isn't in your list of available missions, then you should be able to get it by calling Martin a few times and asking for jobs. If you're having trouble getting it, or if you aren't level 20 yet, then your only other way to get it will be for another player to invite you into the mission. I'm willing to help people out with that. If you need the mission and want me to invite you to it, just send me a request either on the PC or PS4 platform, and I'll invite you to it. Once you've been invited to it and joined the mission at least once, your system should download it and save it. After that, it should be available in your jobs list, even if you're not level 20 yet. The third prerequisite. Just like having the mission, this one isn't strictly necessary in order to do this, but it is the best way to store these things. There is a 6-car garage in Blaine County on Route 68 behind the ammunition store. You can find it for sale on the Dynasty 8 website in-game for $65,000. This is the closest garage to where these trucks will be spawning, which makes it the perfect place for storing them. It would be nice if there were a 10-car garage in the area, but there isn't, so this one is the next best option. Since you can only sell one every 48 minutes anyways, usually 6 of them will last through at least 2 gaming sessions for me, but obviously that depends on how long your typical gaming session is. Alright, so with the prerequisites out of the way, this is how we get these trucks to spawn. I'll usually position myself here along the coastal highway, a little ways south of the corner where they spawn. I'll already be in my personal Sandking XL, and again, this doesn't have to be modded or anything. It can be a basic one you stole off the street or bought from Southern San Andreas Super Autos. Once at that location in my Sandking XL, I will launch the mission Time to Get Away from my jobs menu. I will set the difficulty level to hard, but that's just for better mission payout at the end. It has no effect on spawning these trucks. And really, if you don't want to, you don't even need to finish this mission. You could just exit out after getting your garage full of Sand Kings. I prefer to finish it because after getting the 6 Sand Kings, you've already been in the mission at least 15 minutes, which means that the mission payout is going to be the maximum amount if you complete it, and that's just under $20,000. Value-wise, that's kind of like getting a 7th Sand King out of it. Also, it's pretty easy to finish, especially if you have an armored Kuruma or a buzzard available to you. Even without these things, it's doable though. It will just take a few minutes longer and you'll have to be more careful. Anyways, once the mission is started, you will be at this point with your personal Sandking XL. Start driving north on the highway, about the speed I'm doing it here in the video. Look up ahead at that corner where the Route 68 highway is meeting this highway, and you'll see the modded Sand King spawn there and start pulling out onto the highway. At this point, you'll want to get in front of it, block it with your vehicle, jump out, grab it, and drive it back to your garage for storage. It really is that easy. You can kill the driver if you like to prevent them getting away. Just know that if they do decide to run, they're pretty fast, and at that point it's probably easier to just let them go. Head back down the highway, turn around, and try again. After a while, you'll get the hang of how to get them to stop. Just know that it is normal to lose a few here and there. I still do even today. The NPCs driving these things are pretty flighty, so you just have to be careful. Once you store the first one in your garage, head back out to the road and grab any old vehicle driving by. Since your personal Sandking XL is still sitting at the corner where these spawn, you can just leave it there and use any vehicle to do the drive up the highway. The modded Sand Kings will still spawn because yours is sitting there at the corner. Wash, rinse, repeat. Do this over and over until you have 6 of them in your garage. Congratulations, you now have over $100,000 worth of trucks ready to be sold at the mod shop whenever you feel like selling one, as often as every 48 minutes if you're power grinding the money chain. So now that you've got the modded Sand Kings, you can go ahead and finish out the mission for a payout of just under $20,000. I have a buzzard and an armored Kuruma, and I like to use these to finish the mission because it's the easiest way to me. I request my buzzard from Pegasus for $200, and it spawns at Zancudo Military Base, which happens to be right next door to my Sandking XL garage. I drive over to Zancudo, grab my buzzard, fly over to the farm, hilariously named the Donkey Punch Family Farm. Gotta love Rockstar Games humor. Once you fly over there, you let your heat-seeking missiles kill all the cops. Once they're dead, you can land and call for your armored Kuruma. Pull into the barn and pick up Madrazo's cousin. El Stupido is his name, once again given nod to Rockstar humor, and then drive him back to the little Mackenzie Field airstrip, which is the little dirt airstrip on the north side of the Alamo Sea, up by the northeast corner of it. You will get chased by the cops and cartel guys on the way there, who will be shooting at you and El Stupido. If you're in an armored Kuruma, this really isn't a problem. But if you're in a regular car, you might do better to drive along the railroad tracks instead of on the main roads. The railroad tracks pass right by the back of the farm, so when you pull out of the barn where El Stupido was hiding, rather than make a right and head out to the road, make a left instead and jump on the railroad tracks. Obviously, watch out for the train. If you drive along the tracks, the cartel and the cops won't even really get near you. You just have to pull off the tracks once you get near to Mackenzie Field, and then it's just a short drive on the roads where you shouldn't have too much trouble with them. Once you get really near the airstrip, they'll break off and stop attacking you anyways. Drop El Stupido off at the airstrip, finish the mission, and get the payout. I think it's around $19,200 or so. And you've now got a garage full of 6 modded Sandking XLs to sell at the mod shop. And that's all there is to it. I hope you found this video to be informative and helpful to your game. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and have a great game.